Hey there! What's up? In today's video, I'm first going to try to balance out my exposure, and once we're ready, now I'm telling you what I'm about to do. So I have no idea what this whole thing is with me today, but anywho, since it's summer vibes and I have my beautiful Chauvel neon yellow malt out for the open, I figured I will teach you guys a lesson for messing with young kids in school and bullying them and shit like that. But that's for another video. In this video, I will tell you why you should not diss the way in which I make my usual lessons and tutorials, where I say that I'm not naming any frets or notes or strings and anything like that, and I'm just playing things slowly, but I'm letting you figure out what exactly I'm doing and what I'm pressing as far as frets go and as far as right hand technique goes, because as I've said a gazillion times, this is the most perfect exercise for your ear training. And if you feel like you don't give a shit and you want to just have the tabs laid out in plain open right in front of you and just, monkey see, monkey do, well, maybe there will come a time in your life when you will just want to figure out a new song from your favorite band or whatever, or you will just want to crank up the volume while your grandparents are out shopping for groceries and stuff, and you just want to mess around with some improv. And the first blocker that you have before even going into the whole thing with, I don't know, any theory or whatever, the first blocker that you have, theory related if you will, is the fact that you have no idea what key the particular song is in. And unless you have the nice people who uploaded the video, unless you have them write it there explicitly, blatant in your face that it's in the key of blah blah blah, you will just be frustrated and most likely close the video and give up for the night, or just switch to another song, which is a shame in my opinion, my not so humble opinion. Because see, I want to teach you something, boy. I want to show you how you can do that. And the way that I'm gonna show you employs exactly what I just told you, implies a moderate or let's say decent ear training. So step number one, keep watching my tutorials and other people's tutorials that do not give you tabs, on-screen tabs, or PDF tabs, or don't babysit you all the way through with naming all of the shit that they're doing, and try to figure things out for yourself. Unless you're already doing that, in which case props to you, and it's actually better to not even follow tutorials like ours and just try to figure out the song by ear. That's the best exercise. But second to best exercise is the one that I told you, with tutorials like mine. And why you would need to develop your musical ear, if you will, is because I will show you today how you can just empirically and stupidly deduce the key in which any given song is, unless it's like some super outrageous complex song where the key changes every fucking measure or whatever. With like 99% of the songs out there in the history of the fucking world, you will have a very good chance to spot the key within just a few seconds or whatever. The more you practice, the better you become at it, right? So I don't know. I'll just open up one of my folders that I have here with some backing tracks that I've saved over the years, and I'll just play one of them at random. So let's see. So before I start playing it, what I want to tell you is that first of all, you start with a with any random note in the beginning. Just choose whatever note. As soon as the song starts, choose a note. If you have your ear at least decently trained, you will know if that note lands on a good sound, or if the whole thing sounds out of place, which would mean out of key. So you want to start off by that, then you correct yourself by going either up or down with 1/2 step, and from there on I'll just talk to you. I'll pause, I'll explain, I'll talk over the backing track. Is going to be a little bit annoying, but I'm sorry, there's no easy way to do this, so I will explain things as we go along. Don't worry, this is not an exercise for you to listen to the backing track. You just try to focus on what I'm explaining, and then you can do things on your own in your spare time and experiment and learn at your own pace, right? So here we go. Okay, so right here, just like I said, it's a very melodic thing, you know, the type of thing that I like. And let me minimize this thing right here because the whole thing is super bright. So you just want to start off with a good note or bad note, or even, I don't know, whatever random note. So to me this sounds good, but let's imagine, I don't know, we take another one. It's also good, another one. This is not good. I hope you are able to distinguish. Again, if if this whole thing doesn't make sense and you're like, well, duh, your whole video is redundant because from the get-go I'm unable to know what is right and what is wrong. Again, you need to first go and train your ear just a little bit, right? Listen to some music, try to figure out by ear, stuff like that. Stop bitching when assholes like me on YouTube are teaching you songs without tabs or whatever. So after a while, it'll be at least easy enough to say if a note is falling in the right place over a song, or if it ain't. If it ain't, it ain't. So let's continue. So I wanted to start from a wrong note because it's the more complex case. So like I said, you can correct yourself by going up or down 1/2 step. This one falls into place. I hope you can hear it, right? So okay, let me just minimize this. You might have seen that there are chord diagrams on the backing track, yeah, but I advise you not to do this because you'll be shooting yourself in the leg. So this one sounds good, right? And now you just want to start. So good, bad, good, right? So right from the get-go I can right? So I'm just navigating and I'm doing this, by ear only. Like there's no magic trick to this. That's why I said the most fundamental thing for you is to develop your ear to just the first step where you can recognize if a sound is good or not. Otherwise, you can't even start with what I'm showing right here. So this is good. Maybe you want to go. You have to recognize that it's a bad sound. So again, you correct yourself. So you go either or. So you saw what I did there. When I said you might have seen the chord diagrams, I meant in the reflection on the guitar. This is one of the backing tracks that helps you with the visual part, but you should not do this if you're trying to improve yourself at this point. So what I'm showing you right here is the fact that you're mainly trying to traverse, let's say, one string and figure out the pattern of all the good notes. Once you do this, if you're not already familiar with, recognizing the exact shape that you're deciphering in real time, if you're not already able to recognize what key that is, I will give you just a very simple, rule of thumb type of thing that I used both for myself when I was doing the exact same thing that I'm showing you right now in order to, learn and detect keys and stuff like that, and also what I was, preaching to some of my fellow students when I was giving some basic guitar lessons back in the day. So what you want to follow is any sort of pattern, and by this I mean if you're already familiar with the idea that the major scale, or let's say the natural minor scale, either one of them, because they're one derives from another, they're adjacent to one another also in terms of modes if you're more advanced, but one of them is Ionian, the other one is Aeolian, but in that case I think you wouldn't watch my video. If you know at least the basic formula of how the major scale steps through in terms of half steps versus whole steps, and for example you kind of know that, let's say for A minor, you go for A major, sorry, you go. So in this case, if you already know that for the A major shape you have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So in other words, you have so if during your progression, as the backing track goes along, if you would find this pattern on any given string, in our example, let's say it's the 6th string, and you happen to find this pattern, you would know it's A major scale. But let's say you don't know this, so I want to give you just a quick tip, that rule of thumb that I told you about, on how you can instantly recognize this. So unless you are playing over a more exotic scale, which is, for example, something like, I don't know, instead of major or minor, and when I say minor scale, I mean natural minor, unless you're in one of these, if you're, for example, in harmonic minor, or in, I don't know, a melodic minor, or in some weird diminished or whole tone, sequence, or other, Turkish, Persian, Egyptian, gypsy jazz type of thing. Sorry for the beeps that I get. Unless you're in one of those more extreme things, and you happen to be in one of the normal cases, like major or natural minor scale, which is the majority of music out there, if you have normal preferences and tastes, and you're a fucking normal human being. If you're in one of those cases, then all you want to look out for is the following. You want to find whatever, let's take our example from before with A major. So you want to try and observe the three notes that you have here, which are actually two whole tones, two whole steps apart. So it's this shape followed by one small interruption, which is half step, and then you have, see, now I have like a bigger chunk of whole steps. The first one is smaller because it's only like two whole steps, so 3 notes. Then you have this gap. Then you have a bigger section, which is 4 notes, therefore 3 whole steps. Then again you have a small gap, and then it already repeats because now you've reached the octave, and I hope everything repeats after 12 frets. So whenever you find this pattern on your neck, which is the 1, 2, 3 with a gap, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 with a gap, what you need to do is the following. If you are more used to playing major scales, I mean major positions, then just follow this pattern, and whenever you see that big chunk of notes, which is the chunk of 4 notes, this one right here, whenever you see this one, at the very end, there's that small gap awaiting with the half step. And right where that half step is, you have yourself the root note of your major scale for that particular song or song passage. And you can start from here. And you can solo, doodle, do whatever. If you are more used to the minor scales, maybe you have some basic notions of the minor pentatonic and stuff like that, then again, you find yourself the very same thing, which is that chunk of 4 notes right here. And because that there's a gap here, if that this is the major, the beginning of the major position, like I just told you, then you go back to the gap and 1 whole tone more. This is the equivalent, which is the beginning of your minor position in that same scale. So versus sorry. Yeah, kind of slips right here at the end of the fretboard. So you want to find this sequence of 4 notes separated by 3 whole steps, and you know that there's that gap at the end. So with that gap at the end, if you're playing, if this is the gap, and you're playing starting with this note, which is the, let's say the gap itself, if you're starting from here, which is exactly as 1 octave lower, yeah, I'm a bit noisy tonight. It's not that important, but you get my point. Whenever you see that gap at the end of that, sequence of 4 notes, if you start on the note of the gap, like try to visually see what I'm saying. If you start there, in our case here, you are free to experiment with the major shape that you know. If you don't know the major shape and you know the minor shape, from the same gap, go back on the note, which is like the beginning of the gap. So this is the beginning of the gap, this is the end of the gap. Play the end of the gap, you're in major. Go back to the beginning of the gap and 1 note below. So, or in other words, from that sequence of 4 notes that you had right here, just go to the 3rd one. You have your minor. Again, you'll have to excuse me, it's super late at night and everything is slipping off the fretboard, and probably I'll be slipping off my chair very soon. But yeah, so once again, let's go to our melody and I hope you see that I found the gap. It's exactly where I started by coincidence. I promise you it wasn't intentional. So, see the sequence right here? And let's say you're at the beginning and you had nothing better to do but to experiment with some higher string, but you're only used to playing your key positions, your scale positions, you're only used to playing them starting from the lowest string, which is the 6th string. So hopefully you know that by doing this thing, you go 1 octave lower. So try to descend with whatever logic you already might have. Try to descend to the respective place on your 6th string if that's the case, and you can only start playing on the 6th string. So in our case, this was the gap. So if I want to play major, I drop by 1 octave, and let's just see if, in our case, E major satisfies. Because right now I'm in E on the 6th string, because it's the 12th fret, and I'm in E standard, so yeah, like I said, sorry for tonight, but it works very well. Again, if you're more inclined to go for the minor positions, See where the gap is? Like I said, you go here, right? Or from your, from your succession of 4 notes, you go to the third one. And again, I drop by 1 octave. I count to the 6th string, and in this case, I should be in. You let me know what this should be. It's D flat or C sharp if you prefer. So let's give it a test. Sounds good. It's C sharp and D. Or let's say you don't still know all of the notes in the minor, the natural minor scale, so you just know your minor pentatonic. It's there, right? So yeah, first of all, again, sorry I keep slipping my fingers off the fretboard, but it's super late at night, and not that it's any excuse, but I'm super tired. And second of all, sorry for not being intentionally melodic or playing some good crap or whatever. I just, on the contrary, I just wanted to show you like a basic fundamental way of finding your place on the neck, seeing what key you're in, and hopefully just drill up and down, back and forth through that minor pentatonic or whatever you're more familiar with. So yeah, in case you liked it, in case you want some more in-depth explanations, in case you thought this was already skipping some stages and you want me to go further back, or you thought it was boring and you want something more advanced or whatever, just hit the like, dislike buttons. But more importantly, apart from the like, dislike, subscribe, unsubscribe, apart from that, just leave me a comment and let me know what you thought, and if you want anything more, if you just wish I would delete my channel or whatever. And although I won't promise anything, I will give you a heart to your comment, because I'm super stoked to receive your message. So yes, let's try to get like a nice still for our thumbnail, which might work or not, or you might hate my guts for doing this on your time. But anyway, if I chose something else in the meantime, it means this one sucked. So until next time, please let me know while I'm in the summer mood, what you want me to do, cause glam metal and everything, what my preference is. So bye. Oh shit, my hand is very like how you say, it's like sun is flashing on it. It's like I'm on the beach with some very sexy young model, right? So till next time, yeah, bye bye.